Hey there, and welcome back to GameSpot's three-part series on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. In yesterday's video, we explored the history of the franchise and gave you a look at the prologue area where you'll get your first lessons in witching. Today we travel further, much further, into bustling cities, across craggy islands, and down into farmlands consumed by monstrous beasts. So put on your best pair of shoes. Today we explore the world of Wild Hunt. Okay, let's get down to details. Senior environment artist Jonas Madison was on hand to answer our questions about the vast world of The Witcher, but don't worry, we'll keep this super light in terms of story spoilers. If you have any more specific questions about the story, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Danny O'Dwyer. So, the entire world of The Witcher isn't one big map. It's actually broken up into two large maps, the smaller prologue map, and a number of closed off levels inside the main continent. In the last video, we introduced you to the prologue area of the game around the town of White Orchard. This is where you spend the first couple of hours of the game, but it's tiny in comparison to what comes next. The main open world of the Northern Realms comprises of a vast area stretching from the city of Novigrad in the north down into a rich and beautiful rural area, which descends into no man's land, an area containing a warfront, swamps, and plenty of abandoned villages.
So you have the big city in the north, the metropolitan, and then as you move south, you come into this worn-torn, ravaged area, which you also saw a little bit of. And that's one huge open world.
A second separate open world, the Skellig Islands, is an archipelago to the west of the main continent. This is reachable only by a fast-travel boat ride, which constitutes one of the very few times you'll be forced to hit a loading screen. These islands are varied, more sparse and wild, and have gorgeous weather effects from snowstorms to sun-swept valleys. Then there are enclosed areas which you can only travel to via the game's map. We've seen two of them, firstly the Royal Palace in Vizima, and secondly the home of the Witchers, Kaer Morhen, which exists to the far north of the main map. There could be more of these, and we couldn't travel to Kaer Morhen during our time, but we did learn that you'll be fighting alongside other witches there later in the game. And that's to say nothing of the story beats with Ciri, the game's other playable character, but we'll get to those in the next video. You're also free to return to the prologue area of the game at any time to complete any remaining side quests, explore the world, or simply get in a fist fight with the local cops.
Nice meeting you.
Of course, this is just what exists in the mortal realm. CD Projekt are hiding some of the more fantastical places up their sleeves.
I don't really want to spoil the story, but there are certain places, there are places in the world that you will come across as quite non-natural and odd looking, definitely.
Kill if you love the gods!
So let's talk about the main open world. First of all, it's bloody big. I attempted to run from the center of the map all the way to Novigrad and its northern limit, and even that took me about 20 minutes on horseback. But granted, I probably didn't take the most direct route, mostly because the land here is more dense than a lot of other open worlds. Villages are numerous and packed tightly together, each with its own message board full of side quests and stories. And as you wander into these new villages, their signposts become new fast travel locations.
You ride with your horse, you stop, and you see something's over there. You want to go there. You want to explore and see what you can find there. Maybe you come across a village on the way. Maybe there's a monster hunting quest. So it's all this kind of things just happens. And this is what we wanted to have with the game when you explore the open world.
Apparently everyone in the village has their own routines and schedules from sunrise to sunset, unless of course it starts raining.
We have lots of different types of weather, of course, but important thing to notice is not only cosmetic effect, it actually has an effect on community. So, you know, they will, it rains, I better find shelter. You know, it's nighttime, people pack up their things from the market square and go home. But also monsters. Some monsters are affected by the weather. So when you go monster hunting, depending on the monster, you have to pay attention to what time of day it is.
But the world of The Witcher 3 isn't all just rolling hills and swamps. The vast city of Novigrad lies to the north with boats, bars and brothels for you to enjoy. It's a bustling, vibrant city full of life, and from the sounds of things, we're going to be spending a lot of time there. Novigrad isn't as large as, say, the cities in Assassin's Creed, but its detail is quite impressive. Streets packed with citizens, bustling bars and brothels you can wander into without a single loading screen. Walking into Novigrad is one of those times that The Witcher's technical prowess is on full display. So one question you guys keep asking us is, how does this look on consoles? Obviously, when we went and played the game, we were playing the PC version. As you can see from the trailers and the 4K screenshots, looks pretty great. But while we were at CD Projekt Red, we actually got a little sneak peek at the console versions, both PS4 and Xbox One, in this room where they were testing performance for those versions.
Did you set it up for visual parity? Just demo?
Oh, look at that.
More or less the same location.
That's incredible.
Did you guys play the game already?
Yes, we played about 6 hours of the PC version.
Yeah.
It's great to see those. They look fantastic. Xbox One and PS4 ones look wonderful.
They were sort of tweaking how it looked for frame rate optimization while we were there. So there was a little bit of frame rate hitching. Obviously, this is 2 months before the game came out, so we're both cautiously optimistic that it'll look good on those consoles. In fact, as we went in beforehand, we were thinking, we'll probably get it on PC. But by the time we left that room, we thought, you know what? I think it might be all right to play it on PS4 or Xbox One. In any case, however it looked, in terms of the frame rate stuff, this was definitely the best open world game I've seen running on a current gen console. But as technically impressive and beautiful as Novigrad is to behold, you must be sure to tread carefully. While wandering through a less populated part of the city, a group of high-level bandits tried to mug me. Evil lurks underground too. The sewers of Novigrad are vast and full of monsters, so we expect some quests in the city will involve subterranean pest control. This shouldn't be a problem for you though. After all, you play as Geralt of Rivia, famed monster hunter. You'll be hunting monsters throughout your time in his shoes, and according to lead character artist Pavel Melniczek, you probably won't run out of them.
Well, of course, always we start from some estimations, right? But the game grew so much from the beginning, from the initial concept of the game. I don't know the exact numbers, of course, but I feel that the game is 3 or 4 times bigger than we initially planned it to be. So also the bigger regions, the bigger areas, the maps you explore, they you need to create, of course, more monsters to occupy you during the gameplay. So I remember like 2 situations, like, you know, Monday morning, some end of production of the game almost, and I get an email, hey, I know it's late, but we need some additional 20 monsters, you know, for this land here. So how many of those monsters? I don't know, many. We have bigger, smaller, medium-sized monsters, a lot of them.
With good reason, CD Projekt are keeping tight-lipped on the types of monsters you'll encounter. But from what we've seen from both playing the game and their trailers, there's a lot of variety.
So we have monsters that are also spreading fire, we have monsters that are hypnotizing you, we have monsters that are disappearing and running away, you know, or going underground. So every monster requires different tactics actually. So those involve crossbow, using the bombs and the petards Geralt has, using special potions, or even using signs. For example, when you fight a Noonwright, you're not actually able to kill it without using signs.
There are large boss-style monsters you'll fight one-on-one. Then there are pack monsters like drowners or the horrible exploding zombies known as rot fiends. There are water hags who can evade you with ease while you're in the swamps. And just when you think you've seen it all and it can't possibly get any more disgusting or weird, you stumble upon a demonic miscarried fetus hungry for revenge.
Chose a lovely spot. Damn it, will you relent? I'm ploughing now I've done wrong. Good. The grave's dug up and empty. What's that mean? Botchling's on the prowl. Look!
Yep, nightmares for days. And then there's the wildlife, packs of wolves, deer to hunt. I fought a bear within the first few minutes of leaving the prologue area. And of course, the greatest monster of them all, humans. Groups of bandits can be found across the lands, and killing them can be just as satisfying. For their first jaunt into open world game design, CD Projekt have managed to make a world with a great breadth of variety. I spent my first few hours here just wandering around, riding my trusty steed Roach into bandit camps, sailing a boat downriver, discovering ruins, enjoying the sunset, unlocking new towns to fast travel from, and running from fights with monsters that were clearly above my level.
You know, in many ways, Wild Hunt doesn't really feel like a Witcher game. It feels closer to a fantasy version of Red Dead Redemption. You're kind of exploring the wilderness and running into towns and picking up quests. But what type of quests? Tomorrow on GameSpot in Part 3, we detail the gameplay of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, its main quests, secondary quests, side quests, random encounters, and everything else you'll be doing in this wonderfully impressive open world.